It's spooky season. Please subscribe. Hey everyone, and welcome to Resin Crafting with Chris Collected. Today we are going to make a cute little pumpkin. This is the pumpkin mold. There's the lid for it. I'm also going to do two of these little holographic ghost face. Our four little ghost buddies. This nice little crystal. All with Resiner's epoxy resin. So last time I did finish up my crystal clear tea expert resin, and this time we're going to use the Resiner's resin. This is a 1-to-1 by volume, and so I'm going to mix 100 of A, 100 of B into each of these little containers. After I poured this, I went back to my cabinet and I realized these do actually come with pouring spouts on them. And so in the next video, I'll try to use a little pouring spouts, but this time I forgot and ended up spilling a little bit. That's the thing with the first time you use any kind of resin, and might have some kind of thing you forget about. It's all good. Now we're going to put that in our dual head mixer and get that all spinning. I had just cleaned it before I used it, and I think I left it a little bit not dry enough, and so that back one was spinning the whole time. Next up, we're going to put in our Resiner's airless machine, take all those bubbles out of it. And after about 10 minutes, we're going to release it. They're looking nice. Now we're going to put the resin dye. This is gold yellow. I will be putting 12 drops into the one on the right. Next up is the resin dye yellow. I'm going to put 4 drops of this onto the right and 12 drops into the left. Unfortunately, this kit does not come with an orange. And so for this experiment, it will be all yellow. Well, you know, we'll play with it in the future and see if I can get a nice orange. Here's 50 grams of just little clay bits. All kinds of things from evil eyes and skulls to cats and all kinds of fun stuff. And this one is all holographic. I'm using some bats, some cats, some skulls, all kinds of cute little things. I get these little kits off AliExpress for only about $2. And so that way I can use them up in this resin and not feel bad if I end up putting too much or too little, and I can just keep playing around with it. Let's get that all stirred up. Next up, let's stir up all of these bits, and we can really start to see the color difference. Don't they look great? And you can see the top one is definitely darker. Now, let's get to pouring. Anytime you have a complicated shape like this, it's a great idea to pour half of it and then stir it around and then pour the rest of it. The demolding is included in this video, so make sure to check it out at the end. As it's pouring out, it definitely looks like a beer or some kind of Pilsner or something. Doing the same technique here, trying to move the resin around, get it into all those little crevices. Now we're going to dump the rest of it in there. Of course, all these bits are going to go straight to the bottom, but that's okay. Still got plenty more of spooky season to go, and so I will be making a few more of this mold. As you can see, not deforming or anything, which is great. Let's move it out of the way and pour the next one. Next up is the crystal. This piece ends up being my favorite of the day. And classically doing the same technique that I've done all the time. Make sure to get all that air out of there. This one's such a complicated shape, I actually do it twice. I end up pouring a little too fast here, and the ears did get messed up again, but I promise the next time I'm going to keep trying until I get these ears perfect. See, I thought this was going to be enough for those ears, but I need to get something much smaller and get it in there, because there's getting some trap bubbles in every time. I'm going to keep on making them until I get them perfect. And I don't mind because it's so cute. Alright, last up, we have our ghost face. Now they're all poured, let's see them all get demolded. Alright. Wait, there's some few extra pieces. What are those? Those are Patreon exclusives. I did want to include this one Patreon exclusive. This is our little froggy. I will be sending out all of the little resin pieces that I made at the end of this month to anyone who has joined in the last year to my Patreon. As you can see, this one has a little bit of, the resin was a little cloudy. But the best ones that I make, I'll send out. And I have a bunch of gummy bears and things to send out as well. So if you join my Patreon for only $2 a month, then you can get a free little piece of resin. Now this one ended up turning out to be my favorite. And the reason is because of that skull. There's also two little cats in there. So there's one cat you see on the left there that's looking up on it. And then there's another cat behind the skull. Next up is the ghost face. I still haven't poured this one correctly because it's such a small mold. I'm easily over pouring every single time. So I think next time I'm going to try to really under pour it and see if I can get the perfect pour. That way it doesn't cover the eyes or nose or mouth up at all. But you can see the hollow on it looks great. Next up is the lid for the pumpkin. This one was poured in the solid yellow. Look at that, there is a few bubbles, but a big improvement from what I was doing last year. Now, I love that there's some trapped in the stem and there's some trapped in the actual base. And anytime you have one of these big molds, I highly recommend water and soap. You can also use other things, but water and soap is the easiest and cheapest. This was definitely a pain to get out. But so worth it, I'm definitely making more. Of course, clean it up with one of my microfiber cloths. $4 for one, 2 of them for $6, or 4 of them for $10. Now look at that. As we already knew, all of the pieces were going to sink, but I was hoping it was going to be even. That was the only part that I didn't like about it. It wasn't perfectly even all the way around, but I knew that was going to happen. I've been told in my comment section that if I use baby powder or some kind of lotion, I can get it to stay. So I'm going to look into that and do some experiments with it. The lid fits perfectly. This mold is great. I absolutely love the mold. And as you can see, the real difference there between that gold yellow and pure yellow. I'm curious if I add a drop or two of black, if I can get it to be even, oranger. These ones turned out so cute. Let's get a closer look at it. So these are the two with arms. As you see, everything went to their head. You got pumpkins, you got poison apples, evil eyes, ghosts. There's everything in this one. And here are the other two. The one on the right was supposed to have the ears. And the one on the left looks to me like a Pac-Man ghost. Because it has like a worried expression. My name is Chris Collected. I do rug tufting, resin crafting, and sewing. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'm on my way to 500 subscribers. Here's a quick view of everything that I did here today. So we mixed those two up and then poured them all out. This is at a times 10 speed. I'm doing a Patreon drive last month and this month, so please consider subscribing. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for the photos afterwards. And see you next week. And beware of horror season. Goodbye.